Here we are at Ping HQ again. I'm going to give you a little video today on matching your low point with your attack angle. It's kind of a hot topic at the moment. We know in the golf coaching industry at least is to what is optimal for attack. Now the good news is there is not an optimal, but there are matchups that you can look for that are going to make life a little bit easier. So today I'm going to show you how to match up a steep attack angle with a low point, and I'm going to show you how to match a shallow attack angle with a low point and a ground contact point. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, so let's start with how to match this up. Now, the contact point on the ground and the low point of the swing are not the same thing. Right, your club can come into the golf ball, hit the ground just before the ball and travel to a lower spot ahead of the golf ball. So low point and contact point are not the same. Let's get that out the way nice and early. Now, if you have a relatively shallow attack, so relatively close or level to the ground, you need your low point to be fairly high. It's not forward and backwards, fairly high. If your low point is a long way under and you're coming in close to the ground, you've got a problem. So if you want to be shallow, you've also got to be high. Or your low point itself won't actually be that far ahead of the golf ball. It will still be ahead, but marginally. So let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to set up and try and hit something to that pin over there. It's a very quick green. And I'm going to rehearse making fairly wide swings where I'm just barely clipping the top of the turf. Excess depth will get me in trouble. Okay, that came out pretty good. So I've seen my swing often enough to know that that's probably going to be 2 to 4 degrees down. Not a great deal. You could hear the ball and ground contact was kind of similar. There wasn't a lot of separation between the two. Let's do a couple more just to check it wasn't a fluke. So I'm going to try and match my intent, which is shallow, to a low point that isn't a long way ahead of the golf ball. There's no need to try and go this way. And I'm just going to brush the top of the turf. Not much need for lean either. Okay, now that's an interesting one. Contact point on the ground was definitely before the golf ball. There was a deeper sound to it, a thicker sound. That shows me my low point was too far underneath the golf ball. So go with one more. Now outcome-wise, not terrible. It kind of popped to the right a little bit, which didn't help. Let's have one more nice shallow rehearsal. Okay, let's take the depth out of it. A little bit more clippy. Okay, that was reasonable. Definitely early ground contact. You could hear it again. It's going to work its way down there, maybe 10 feet. Not the best, but it's not in front of me, right? So there is room for shallow. What about steep? Now, steep, because the club is descending into the ground more aggressively, we can't afford for that initial contact point to be too far back. Okay, so we need a low point that's both further forwards and inherently it's going to be deeper underground. So we're now looking at a spot much further ahead. I'm going to try and direct the club down to that. I'm going to put more lean on it because the contribution of lean to attack angle is pretty strong. The more I lean it, the more attack I'm going to get. And ground interaction I'm not going to be too worried about because I'm expecting it. Now, the strike was solid. It's gone like a rocket though. Obviously I've delivered much less loft. There's no softness to the flight, so I need to recalibrate or adjust myself. Same intent, just packaged with less speed. Let's put it back here somewhere. Okay, so take a little bit off it. Still looking at that low point or that contact point to be after the ball slightly and the low point to be deep and ahead. Okay, that was better. Much better touch there. Let's go one more. So I can afford to have what feels like a deeper low point. I can feel like it's going to be much further ahead knowing that my club is coming in this way. Okay, there's no margin behind the golf ball. If I come in behind the golf ball on an angle, I'm in a whole heap of trouble. Okay, a little heavy-handed again. There's ball speed adjustment, but the strike was fine. Okay, that's just a case of getting used to what it feels like for the ball to come off the face with that steeper attack, with that lower launch, with that higher ball speed. Right, now, we could go much, much further into this. Maybe one day we will, but let's leave it here for now. A shallower attack needs a higher low point and one that is less forward. Less forward. It's difficult to get a shallow attack and low point a long way forward. It's a challenge. A steeper attack needs a low point that is further forwards for sure, and certainly deeper underground. Now, if you like the information in the video, please don't forget to subscribe, like it, leave a comment below. Let's keep growing the channel.